Constructed between 1983 and 1985, this facility opened its doors in Zimbabwe's capital as the Harare Sheraton Hotel. Fast forward to 2021, it's passionately referred to as the Rainbow Hotel and Conference Center. The facility boasts of 879 rooms and a massive 5,000-seater conference facility in the very heart of Harare. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, and the facility is a part of the Rainbow Tourism Group, the RTG, a listed hospitality concern boasting of several iconic hotels in Zimbabwe, including the Azambezi River Lodge in the resort town of Victoria Falls, the majestic Victoria Falls Hotel, the Bulawayo Rainbow Hotel, the New Ambassador Hotel, and of course the Kadoma Hotel and Conference Center. But just who is RTG and where is it coming from? In February of 2018, RTG launched a digital platform, the Gateway Stream, a super app with several services and products including hospitality, online grocery services, ride-hailing, plus over 8,000 household and hardware appliances. By 2020, the Gateway Stream platform had over 17,000 rooms across 16 African countries. Just more than a year later, Gateway Stream now has over 50,000 rooms spread across 29 African countries, competing against global giants such as Trivago, Airbnb, the Marriott, among others. In 2020, Gateway Stream Music, a music streaming platform with over 30,000 songs and over 5,000 albums, was also launched by the group. The RTG CEO, Tendai Madzivanyika, believes the firm's digital foray is steering the group toward a rapid growth trajectory. In just a moment, Desmond Tupfuma, our Equity Access anchor, engages in a mouth-watering conversation with the chief executive. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you again, Tendai, for welcoming us into your home and letting us have this conversation on the back of your financial results for the half year ended 30 June 2021.
Thank you very much, Des.
Okay.
Thanks to you also for making the time and giving us the opportunity to talk to you about, this, last 6-month period and beyond, actually.
You're welcome. So without taking up any more of your time, I'm just going to dive into it.
Sure.
So your revenue in the period mounted 53% to about 706 million in inflation-adjusted terms, while in historic terms, it mounted up 412%. What, in your view, informed this performance over the half year?
Well, we endured a very difficult half-year period because in the 6 months, 3 of those months were really in lockdown.
True.
I think just to refresh your memory, January, February, and up to half of March, we were in level 4 lockdown. And the business merely opened in mid-March, right up to mid-June. So we had a 3-month operational window. And then after that, then kicked in the interprovincial bans, travel bans and so forth. So you'll find that in that 3 months, it was very intense. We managed to do a lot of conferencing business. NGOs, non-governmental organizations, governmental departments, and other corporates were a hive of activity. We thought what we saw was the need to re-strategize, corporates to, want to come up with new plans, be able to review what was going on during this whole very unfamiliar territory.
Yes.
And so we saw a lot of activity spike in that 3-month period. But unfortunately, as I said, it then went into another lockdown. What's also important in terms of the percentage increase is to look at the comparative period in 2020. If you recall, March, I think 20 March 2020, 2021 March is when the president of the Republic announced the first lockdown, and which kicked in effective 1 April. So in 2020, we literally had lockdown right up to the end of the first half. And so we had a very soft 2020. And the only meaningful business we then got then was the cruise ship business, as well as, again, some bit of conferencing, but it was very, very low. Yeah.
So still, we're seeing in the period, we're seeing your profit, despite being a tough period, we're seeing your profit going up to about 352 million, which is representative of about a 50% growth. Can you shed some more light on the survival strategies that you implemented, besides, of course, the during the conferencing business?
Sure.
And what else did you do in-house to make sure that the ship stayed afloat?
Yeah. You know, Des, we are very excited about, you know, the lessons that we learned in the turnaround period, which really kicked in pretty much during the this whole COVID period. When I say the turnaround period, this is the period in which, you know, I came in end of 2012. And from that point, it was very difficult. And we only could survive on our own operational prowess. You know, back then, you know, our gearing, if you recall, was as high as 70% gearing and a cost of capital of about 24%. And we had to work our way out. And we didn't have many friends because obviously all the banks didn't want to talk to us. Nobody liked us. We didn't look very attractive at all back then. And we started on a very difficult journey of having to survive from what we killed. And I can tell you that an example is, you know, we tracked a basket of goods that were about $10,000 worth in 2013. And right now, the same basket we're acquiring for about 3,500. And we pursued a cost-cutting strategy every year and averaged about 15%, you know, reduction year on year in terms of cost. So that momentum carried us into the COVID period. And so if you look at the first 6 months, we had that benefit coming in of what to do when you're in a difficult period like this. And so we went into it with a very efficient cost structure, but we again continued to take out costs. So, for example, what was previously considered to be fixed costs, we challenged that. And we said, why should it be fixed?
We can change this.
Yeah, we can change this. And I can tell you that as an example, where you've got a fixed cost that is based on a number of units of something. We would, you know, maybe it's a rental model that's based on how many units do you have in play. We actually went back to the supplier and we said, listen, unfortunately, there is no business that your units are not producing as much. And we actually went there and renegotiated and agreed on a much lower, you know, base amount. So what we were able to do progressively was to convert elements of fixed costs into semi-variable costs and therefore take out even more costs out of the business. And we'll talk, maybe if you'll give me a chance later on, I'll give you specifics in terms of some of the areas that we actually came up with very innovative ways of addressing.
You can go right ahead and
thanks, Des. I'll give you an example, which is payroll. You know, we have, you know, we're very proud, can I say, to say that we did not retrench a single person throughout the COVID period. Right from last year to now, we did not retrench any of our employees because we genuinely believe they're the most important asset for any organization. And we felt that the loss would be too great. And so what we did is we innovated ourselves. As you know, we launched Gateway Stream, we launched Hexa, and so forth, which helped to absorb some of our employees. But the point is that we were able to then say, of the payroll, we were guaranteeing our staff at least 50% of their pay. And then the rest would be variable upon revenue performance. In other words, you are guaranteed of 50% whether you come to work or you stay at home. And then in the event that you are called upon to come to work, we then pay you for the time you worked. So on average, people were getting much more than the 50%. And the other thing we did is we made sure that we tracked inflation. So whenever inflation started eating earnings up, we would then, be able to adjust people's pay. So Some people who didn't come to work were still getting pay increases, even though they're at home. But because we now had a very efficient business model, we were able to sustain those costs. And later on, again, we can cover Victoria Falls, because everyone in Victoria Falls really suffered. We all did. But what we actually did is we ended up having to close one of our units. You know, we've got 2 hotels in the Victoria Falls, Azambezi and Vic Falls Rainbow. We had to close Vic Falls Rainbow. And it led to, call it redundancy of workers. Yeah. But we did not make them redundant. What we actually said is we've got what we call essential at work and essential at home. So the essential at home were about 54 employees that were at home. But we were paying, you know, their medical aid, we were paying their funerals and things like that. And we were calling upon them whenever we had work. And I can tell you that to date, we've now managed to absorb 45 out of the 54 into our other business units. So only 9 remained at home. Yeah. But those 9, I can tell you, recently were at the ZITF. And they actually came to work for us at the ZITF. And going into October, we're going to reopen the hotel, which means we're going to employ not only those 9, but even more. So we're going to end up a net positive employer. And we feel that it goes a long way to making us an employer of choice.
Sure, that's amazing. That's truly amazing.
Thank you.
Turns out that the turnover period, the recovery period, turned out to be a blessing, actually, rather than just a tough terrain.
Yeah. So
I want to go back. You mentioned that during that time when you came on board, your gearing was at about 70%. Fast forward to now, it's only 1%.
Yeah.
So my question there would be, where have you cut down, and are you looking to change that matrix anytime soon?
You know, the journey from 70 to 1 was a challenging one, but an exciting one. And as I said, you know, most of that journey we walked using free cash flows generated from operations. How did we generate those? 2 things. The first thing is create multiple revenue streams, robust revenue streams, but not just hotels, not just, you know, rooms. Okay. We created multiple revenue streams, and that was the genesis also of the Gateway Stream idea. The second aspect is just cutting out costs that we talked about a little earlier. And that started generating a lot of EBITDA. And I can tell you that our EBITDA is now above 30% consistently, which is, you know, quite a strong performance, you know, on global standards. A 30% EBITDA really does a lot for any business. We inherited you know, I think the first EBITDA I recorded in 2012 was like 6%. But now I think we are in a healthy position. Now you ask, are we going to sustain that? Are we going to sustain a 1% gearing going forward? And I would say yes. We want to safeguard the
low gearing.
The low gearing. Yes, of course. I mean, the jury is out to say what's the best business model. Is it no gearing, or is it a certain amount of gearing? And we are aware that maybe at around 30% gearing, the company is still healthy, you know, depending on the returns of that gearing. But we have pursued, and we are continuing to pursue, an asset-light business model. And therefore, it doesn't take a lot of, you know, cash. So, you know, for example, in Gateway Stream, we've recruited already 52,000 rooms across Africa.
Which is quite amazing.
You see, and that doesn't really take, you know, a lot of investment. So that is the type of model which will not need a lot of capex. But of course, there will come times where we want to expand. We want to, you know, get hotels and lodges and so forth. But for now, we feel that the asset-light business model should be able to take us through the remainder of this projected COVID period.
Quite amazing. So last year, during the lockdowns last year, you refurbished your key assets, the Bulawayo Rainbow Hotel and the hotel that we're in right now, the Rainbow Towers. What was the rationale behind that? Were you perhaps chasing a new star, or can you just walk us through the rationale behind those refurbishment campaigns?
No, thanks, Steve. You'll find that our primary responsibility to our shareholders is to give them a return. Yeah. But that return needs to be on a sustainable basis. So what I think any business leadership need to do is to always protect the investment of the shareholders, for the long term. And so we feel that it is our obligation to continue to maintain the properties in a healthy position for that long term. And so if you look at these two hotels that you cite, they had not had any meaningful refurbishment ever since construction. If you look at this hotel, it was opened in 1984, 85. And ever since, had never been refurbished. And we took it on and we said, we're going to give this thing a facelift. We have the largest rooms in Harare. Some people don't know that. We have the largest rooms of any hotel, but they were not in a good state. And we said, what is it that we need to do? So we actually gutted those rooms and we totally redid them, literally from scratch. If you look at Bulawayo, the hotel since the 50s when it was built had not been touched at all. And what we did there is to look at the whole water reticulation system. We changed all the bathrooms. We changed all the windows, put double glazed windows, to address the noise factor, painted and so forth. And so you'll find that we spent in excess of 2.5 million in Bulawayo, and we spent over 4.6 million right here in this last 2-year period. And I'm happy to say also, Des, that since 2013, when I came 2012, since 2013 to now, in that last sort of 8-year period, we've actually invested close to 20 million, in terms of refurbishing the product. Because we expect, or rather our customers expect, that when they come into our properties, they must be world class. And that vision we continue to pursue. Amazing.
Thank you. So I want to move right over to the hot topic when it comes to RTG, which is your digital campaign, Gateway Stream. When just a year ago, you had about less than 20,000 rooms. You were in 16 countries. Fast forward today, we have almost 53,000 rooms on the Gateway Stream. We're in 30 countries. Can you just walk us through that journey from adding 30,000 rooms in just over a year?
Yeah. If you don't mind, Des, I'll just start by getting viewers to understand the inspiration behind Gateway Stream rooms. Yeah. You see, if you look at the largest hotel group in the world is the Marriott, and they have just over 1 million rooms. Okay. But if you look at a booking.com, which owns no rooms, they sell, before COVID hit, they were now selling in excess of 1.2 million rooms a day. So in other words, they were larger than the largest hotel group.
And they had no rooms.
And yet they didn't own any rooms. So that was really the inspiration behind the Gateway Stream rooms, part of Gateway Stream. And so when COVID hit, one of the things we did, like I said, we didn't retrench. Some of our employees we took to continue to recruit rooms. So right now we moved from 20,000 a year ago. We're now on 53,000. And we aim to get to about 100,000 maybe over the next sort of 6 months. The vision there is that we aim to become the gateway to all, everything tourism, everything travel. And so if we can make choice available, that will work, very good for our consumers. Sure. Again, there's a lot of room stock out there and, with very low occupancy. And yet we have got a tech platform that's global and can give access to a global audience. So it's a win-win. They've invested in an asset. It's not really performing optimally. Yeah. We've got access to an audience. And so that relationship, we believe, is going to work. So we'll continue to recruit rooms. We'll continue to robust the Gateway Rooms model so that when tourism takes off again, we're going to be a group of over 100,000 rooms.
Amazing. Still,
thank you.
You also added new features, new services onto the Gateway Stream platform. You added Gateway Stream Music.
Yeah.
I actually listened to Japraise's album on the Gateway Stream Music part of Gateway Stream.
Sure.
What growth prospects do you envisage for all these other services besides the rooms feature? Gateway Stream Music, Gateway Stream, all these
hardware, clothing, and so we've basically got about 9 revenue streams in Gateway. Again, why did we pursue that strategy of multiple revenue channels? The inspiration really is, believe it or not, coming from Google.
Okay.
You see, anytime you decide to search for anything, just Google it.
True.
You see? So what we are saying is that we would like to have the brand to become so pervasive that when somebody thinks of booking a room, they'll think Gateway Stream. When they think of buying food, they'll think of Gateway. When they think of,
listening to music,
hailing a ride, listening to music, buying hardware, it's Gateway Stream because it's professional. It's an established, listed organization that gives them that comfort that I'm dealing with a trustworthy entity. And so we feel that once that brand recognition gets to a certain point, we'll start getting, the returns.
Okay.
And so you asked a pointed question to say, these are the channels, the music and so forth. What is our vision for them? If you look at Zimbabwe in particular, our artists are suffering from one big problem. And that is, number one, right now, they are in lockdown.
Sure.
They don't have access to shows. They can't really get their music out there. And we feel that we can play a part. And at the same time, they suffer from, piracy. Where, no sooner have they released their music,
someone's downloading on an illegal site.
Exactly. So we feel that Gateway Stream, the way we put it up was for them to be able to own their own music store. So there's a back end to it where Japraise, Winky D, and all these artists can actually go in and load their own music. Okay. They can also have a social interaction platform that's already there, built in, where they can actually speak to their fans. And also, it has a live streaming aspect to it. And that's why we were able to, show the best of both worlds in December. It was January. And then we did the Japraise launch recently. And so we feel that it's a platform that doesn't just address lockdown situations. Even when times open up, okay, you can still have a situation where fans come to a venue, but at the same time can be live streamed for those that can't come.
Make it.
So maybe a fan will be paying $20 at the venue and maybe $1 from home, something like that. So we feel that it's got a lot of future. The other channels, grocery, we want to be able to have a person in the UK, in the US, in Australia, got relatives here. They should be able to get onto the Gateway Stream, order groceries, and we deliver within 24 hours. Hardware, people are building, and they're based in Canada. They're based all over the world. And they're building. They want a brand they can trust. And so we want Gateway Stream to be that brand where we build relationships with suppliers locally, and we've got a distribution network anyway. So someone can have the confidence of going onto the Gateway Stream from anywhere in the world, booking, paying for whatever, and we will actually deliver within a 24-hour period. So we're seeing a lot of growth potential. We are seeing multiple revenue streams, and we feel that into the future, the question really you'll be asking me will be, do you see yourselves remaining a hospitality entity, or what are you? Yeah. And I think we'll be more a technological company, right? It's more going to be a technology marketing platform or company with, a hospitality arm and so forth.
Which is amazing. Because that's where the world is going. Everything is digitalizing, and everything is heading towards the technological direction.
100%.
Still on that digital aspect, what's really amazing about the Gateway Stream app is that, as you recently announced, and I saw an advert somewhere, that it has 0 data rating. Which in my view is a huge competitive advantage over anyone or anything that may be providing a similar service as the gateway stream.
Sure.
Because I can't get on Spotify and listen to music with zero data.
That's right.
Do you feel that you're doing enough to put out that message out there, that you're doing enough to let the people know about this amazing fit which is contained within gateway stream?
You know, Des, I think we're just innovating so fast that we are failing to keep up with our own innovations in terms of messaging. But you know what? We've set up a robust social media team with more than 10 people that are constantly on social media, marketing the brand and so forth. However, have we done enough, to, get the message out there that the platform is now zero rated? Maybe not. But we feel that it was essential, because the one big obstacle and barrier to people transacting on technological platforms in Zim is the cost of data. And what we managed to do is to obviously go into that space, be able to bring in data as gateway stream, and then work with other entities locally to distribute, whether be it MNOs, mobile network operators, or your fiber providers and so forth. And so we're excited about the prospects of that, because to your point, if you go and download a song from YouTube, you need data.
I do.
We want to be at that point where we can be like YouTube and better, where a person can go listen to music for free, don't have to pay for anything to download it, but at the same time, be able to also do something for the artist. So we're actually working on that model right now, so that, it becomes the YouTube of Zimbabwe and maybe indeed Africa in future.
In my view, it's already better than YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dave.
I want to take you to the Heritage Expeditions Africa. I had an opportunity a few months ago to go to the one that you have here and shoot some people with the paintball. So,
what color did you use?
I think it was green or blue. I'm not really sure.
At least it wasn't red.
Nothing was great.
Yeah.
So it's launched a few years back.
Sure.
What has been the general reception for that tour business that you have running under the Heritage banner?
We launched Heritage just over 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. And it's an entity that will provide tourism products, especially in the Victoria Falls. We've got quad biking, we've got, quite a few activities in the Victoria Falls. And then we've also got transfers, bus transfers across the country. And we are giving customers the ability to create their own packages, you see. So instead of going to someone to create a package for you, a person can actually go onto the platform online and create their own package.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that, because it gives freedom to people. You can go in, create your own package, book, pay online, and then merely travel. And that ability is already on there in terms of the Hexa platform. Unfortunately, obviously, we were then caught up with COVID. But I'm pleased to say, if you look at our numbers, that Hexa and Gateway, the two of them are now contributing close to 8% of our group's net revenues. So, and this is after, sort of 2 to 3 years, and part of that being a COVID period. So we're quite excited about the future of those two platforms. And we feel that, they do have a significant place, not only in Zim, but also beyond our borders.
That's amazing. So you mentioned COVID. There's been huge rollout of vaccination campaigns, huge numbers going to get vaccinated. And on the back of that, we expect a revival in international and regional travel, which I think it was the United Nations World Tourism Organization, they say it's slumped by 85% in this period between January and May. How are you positioning yourselves to then receive those huge numbers coming back and that revival in world and regional tourism?
Des, thanks for the question. You'll find that our positioning is really going to be, arms such as the Gateway Stream. It's tech, it's pervasive, it goes beyond any border. And as tourism starts coming back and we now have airlines starting to come. I think this week SAA started flying. For the first time, Qatar started flying into Zim. Emirates is back. As we get air access, we are seeing a lot of opportunity and a lot of potential for growth. And as we continue to recruit these rooms, under gateway rooms, the 53,000 and so on, we believe that once, the whole global machinery starts to wake up, we'll already be positioned to have our share of, the future, travel and tourism market. So we feel that all the things we're doing right now are going to help in positioning the organization going forward.
Wonderful stuff. So last but not least, because we should go on forever, what is your 3-year or 5-year outlook from this point going onwards in light of everything? Gateway stream, the hotel business. I'm sure you did mention that you want to be identified as a technological company. But in these 3 years or 5 years that are to come, what is your outlook? What do you envision?
In 2020, January, we actually had held our strategy session in South Africa with the board and facilitated by some, top guys. And we articulated our 5-year strategy. And what is amazing is that most of that 5-year strategy remains true to this day, because that's when we defined the asset light strategy, and we're continuing to pursue that. We were very clear about the need to continue to refurbish our properties so that we continue to offer the best to our customers. We emphasized the aspect of service and quality. As you know, we're ISO certified. We've just, gone through a recertification process right now. So we're excited about that because that is all quality assurance. Now, if we look at the next 3 years, we think that most of our strategic levers will remain true and relevant. However, we feel that, COVID, to be honest, our view is that it will take us a little while to go to pre-COVID period, levels of business, especially just in hotels. Yeah. So this is why you find as RTG, we've activated other revenue streams. So we think that in 3 years' time, we'll have multiple sustainable revenue streams, and hotels will just be one of those. And we feel that maybe after 3 years, we'll start going, in terms of travel and tourism, we'll start after 3 years, we'll be back to our pre-2020 levels. So we feel we'll be fine. We are going to continue to accelerate. And in 3 years' time, we feel that we'll be, for sure, ready to redefine this business in terms of being a tech marketing organization with travel and tourism interests.
Thank you so much, Tendai, for having us. This has been very informative. Looking forward to having you again when you release your results for the full year.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Des. It's been a fantastic time. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Equity Live presents the complete online interactive presentation solution. Hosting AGMs, media and analyst briefings has never been this simple, efficient, and affordable. Communicate globally through a combination of high-definition video and your prepared multimedia presentation from any location of your choice. Interact with your invited participants from all over the world in question and answer sessions and voting sessions in real time on our safe, secure, and affordable platform. Contact Equity Live for a free customized demonstration. Equity Live, real-time presentation solutions.